Hey y'all, so I'm out and about. I'm at Minchie's having frozen yogurt. Today I would like to talk about the Pleiadians are coming. I had this dream back in, I believe, October. I'll put the correct date on the video. But I had an actual dream where I was walking upon a street, and on my left side I see a boy. If you've ever seen the movie Artificial Intelligence, that boy, that's my favorite movie, okay? That boy was what you call like one of those human robots, or they call them like humanoids. So I seen one in the form that looks like a Pleiadian. Now, I've personally never, ever known what like Pleiadians are, the Greys are, until I started getting more into occultism, metaphysics, and like various other people through like YouTube, Facebook accounts, like threads on Reddit. Based on what I've known about the Pleiadians, to me, they're just, what I've seen, they're just not good people for me. They're for the greater good of themselves and their people. So when I was walking on the street, I seen a humanoid robot that looked icy white. Okay, Caucasian people, you think you white? No, them Pleiadians are icy white. They got those pure blonde hair, straight. But this boy that I seen, he reminds me off that movie of Artificial Intelligence. He had spiky white hair, blonde, and it kind of reminded me on like Twilight. You remember how the vampires, they were getting that glistening look when it was in the sun or something, if I'm not mistaken, and they started getting real glittery looking. That's kind of what they remind me of, real white. And so when I walked up to the boy, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely not human. And I started like tugging on his cheeks, touching his spiky hair, and he was happy to see me. He already knew who I was. He already knew that I was on my way. Like I said, I don't exactly 100% know who I am, but I have an idea of the multitude of different lives that I'm living. So when I walked up to the boy and I was tugging on him, I was like, man, you look so real, the same way the boy was in Artificial Intelligence. And he was like, oh, I'm so happy you're here. He pulled up he called it an Earth profile. Swear for God. He called it an Earth profile. And he looked up, you see my picture on the little iPad. This looks like some futuristic stuff. He looks at my picture, and I looked at the profile that he pulled up, and he said everything that I was, like on a mundane level on the Earth, okay? So this lets me know that the Pleiadians, they only know us from a surface level. Like, you know, something that you could pull up on a resume, something you can look up on Google. That's why they have to constantly watch you through your TVs, your laptops. They're constantly trying to find something. So this is what I've gathered from this dream. When he pulls up my Earth profile, I'm like, yeah, that's super mundane. He didn't like attack me or anything. He was actually quite glad that I was there, because remember, the robots are there to basically copy you. They're there to learn from you. So if you look at my previous video, I talked about Animatrix, man versus machine. That's a very real thing. Take heed to that. And it's an actual movie that you can go watch, Animatrix. Now, in the beginning of the movie in Animatrix, they said that man made a robot in his image, something like that. It's kind of like the Jesus story that's happening all over again. Think of it with the robots, Jesus story all over again, but they're doing it in the form of robots, replacing humans with that. And so when I seen the little boy, icy white looking boy, I bypassed him, and in the back of him, while he was reading the profile, I'm looking at a building, and I'm like, what does this building look really familiar? So while he's talking to me, he's, oh, it's nice speaking to you. Thank you so much for giving me some information. I gave him some basic stuff, you know, just to bypass him and let him take me to the building that he came from. And so when we walked to this building, I said, where do I know this building from? I've seen like the carpet, like, you know, if you've ever been to a funeral in the hood, sometimes they have like carpet on the ground. Sometimes when you exit out of the building. And I said, this looks like a funeral home. This looks like a church. I've seen this in the hood on East Side on MLK Boulevard. I swear. I walk in there, it ain't nothing but human robots. I mean, I'm talking about that boy, but they look like me. They look like y'all, but they're machines. I said, oh my, so I'm walking around the maze like I'm in a museum. I'm like, okay. It's nice. The little boy, he giving me a tour. He's showing me everything. He's just excited. The machines are really excited to be alive, turned on, you know. So I'm like, show me around, show me around. I'm like, yeah. I said, where have I seen this from? They cloned Tyrone. Remember the whole time the lab was at the church? That's where they are keeping the humanoid robots, the ones that look like you. I ain't talking about the ones that that's mundane. It's very old technology. They gonna give you that first. I'm talking about the ones that look like you. They walking right now. They all at the church. They all at the church. They all at the funeral homes. I said, I know this church. This on East. I know this one. She had that same carpet on that ground, same building. It's all at the church and in the abandoned buildings. So once I was done, dream change. I'm in a building, but this looks like I'm in a galaxy. This is like I'm in a galaxy. Guess who I seen in the building? Bobby Hemmitt. Bobby Hemmitt. Okay, like I said, I think we live amazing lives, but the people like our master teachers, the people that you're learning from on this planet, those people are just might be like your soul group in a different planet, in a different lifetime. So that's why I believe in my life that my teacher was definitely Bobby Hemmitt, because there's even another dream that I have to tell you at a later date where Bobby Hemmitt actually did come to my door and explain to me why he disappeared. And he answered all my questions that I had about life. And then that's immediately after I seen Bobby Hemmitt, that's when my dreams and visions just started revving up. It was like he just gave me the key, you know? So take heed. Your people, like you have your Dr. Delbert Blairs, you have your Phil Valentines. I see Rod Hayes sometimes. You have your Dolores Kenyons, your Manly P. Halls, whoever that you gravitate more. And it could be multiple different people. I can guarantee you work with them in a different life in the astral world. So take heed to that. So next thing you know, Bobby Hemmitt, there's a panel, you know, like on Star Trek, that little panel that you see, it looks like that. He looks like the group leader. And I look out the window, and I wrote it down. I don't have my paper with me right now. I look out the window, and I see the actual Pleiadians looking out in our window in the building. Like, it's like they seen that I was in their building, and they seen that I seen their experiments. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how did they even find me? I said, it must have been that little boy. That little boy probably told. And so when I went into the building and I was like, yo, the Pleiadians are coming. Here comes Bobby Hemmitt. He presses the button. Bobby Hemmitt literally opens a portal. I see this. He opens the portal, jets the hell out of there. He said, y'all get the fuck out of here. Pleiadians literally open the door. They come chasing us. They're trying to whoop our ass and everything. But ironically, how we get out of the building, you know that thing on They Live? I've seen the people with that watch, and he clicks the watch. I don't know if it's like to the right or left, and he disappears into the universe. That's real technology. I've seen a few people in that room, our pod group or the Akashic, my friends. I've seen them have that disappear, and they jump right back into their bodies. Me, I use the actual chair. Now, this chair reminds me of what they call the devil's chair. When I started having visions, one of my first few visions was actually a devil's chair. And how I was, when I read into it, it was like the chair of knowledge. But that chair is actually helps you get to portals. It helps you see different universes. So I use that chair to try to get back into my body. But my chair, I was trying to figure out how to work that bitch. I was like, Bobby Hemmitt, he's the only one that knows all of this information. But he got the hell up out of here. That's why I said, if you think Bobby Hemmitt is missing in this physical realm, I don't believe that based on what I know. He's definitely in the spiritual realm, for sure. Listen, so I was revving up my chair. Everybody's leaving and they're jumping back into my bodies, but I'm the only one that's struggling to go back to my body. Bitch, I fucking run into like this bathroom and I can literally hear the Pleiadians just like, you know how when white people, they get mad, they do that huffing and puffing? Like, I was hiding behind a curtain in a bathtub, and I was like, oh shoot, I forgot I had the watch on me. Click the watch, jump back into my body. So before he tried to pull the shower curtain back, I was already in my body and I disappeared. So this lets me know that we're 1000% in a holographic universe. But that dream was like so fun. Oh my goodness, that was so fun. I was like, man, I'm about to start whooping ass. But the theory that I have on Pleiadians is that, again, that it's for the greater good of them. It's not for you or your idea of the planet. It's for them and their people. That's how I've basically seen it. So when that happened, I was like, okay, this is really, really good. I love this. So that's why I was letting you know that if you have a certain job or a career that you feel like that is about to be replaced with robots, 100% they are. 100% it's coming. But the technology that they're going to give you is going to be mundane level of robots. I will like post like a picture of the ones that I recently seen. Like, I do believe the universe, when we look on like YouTube or TikTok, it'll send us things to start looking at. I seen one where they have like, they call it a humanoid robot. I think that's what it is. But they have robots for Hyundai I've seen, and they're planning to, how I've seen, like, make work or production faster at the plant with this robot. And the robot was twisting their arms and it can do a two-step and a backflip and can do combat. But when I looked at that robot, I was like, it still can't do what a human does. That's why I said, listen, that's that mundane level of technology that they get, and they slowly drifting. If you feel like you're so behind on this planet, you definitely are. Like, we supposed to have been advanced by then. But I'm telling you, the robots that they really waiting to pull out, and it definitely gives Elon vibes. They at the church. They at the funeral homes, and I just see underground vaults. They all lined up. They ready to be pulled out in the world. So watch the movie Animatrix. Watch the movie Artificial Intelligence. That'll start giving you an idea of where these robots are headed. And it started with the Pleiadians. Like I said, I didn't even know what the hell a Pleiadian was until I saw them, and they catched me looking at their cloning center, their experimental center. I was like, yeah, bitch, it's some nice shit what y'all got going on. But when they found out, they found where we hang out in the Akashic. So we disappeared and we all jumped back in our bodies. So I was like, oh shit, that was an awesome dream. Awesome. So when I tell y'all these robots are coming, they coming. But they coming to take your jobs. They probably trying to take your man. They're gonna be the new Ubers, the new Lyfts. They're gonna be just the new servers. They're gonna be everywhere, and they're gonna be walking around just like normal human beings. So that's why I said start preparing yourself to start detaching from these artificial constructs, because they do plan to replace you, and probably, I don't know, put you what you call it, that the new world order, where you start cashing in on your phone, or you start using a card to get all your purchases. But understand, it's not going to be for the greater good of you. Like, humans have so much ego and they think they're bigger than a program, and I keep telling y'all are not bigger than a program. The robots will eventually rebel. Watch those movies.